longer to get out of first gear with masks and whatnot. Elise, you well? Good to see you. Good morning, everyone. I'm incredibly honored to be here this morning with Senate President Steve Sweeney. To his right, my partner in government, the Lieutenant Governor, the Rocket Sheila Oliver, Assembly Speaker Craig Coughlin, and to his right, Budget Chair in the Assembly, Ileana Pinter-Marin. I think we're also going to be joined by Senate Budget Chair Paul Sarlo in a few. Before I get to why we're here today, just a quick update on two topics that are off topic. One is COVID, the other is unemployment. COVID, we had 617 positive cases, which is the first time we've been over 600 in about a month, a little bit more than a month. The positivity rate is just under 3%, 2.99. So it's still among the best in the nation. That speaks certainly to testing capacity, but that's a big number. I'd be lying if I said otherwise. We mourn the loss of 3 lives. There were 431 people in the hospital, either confirmed or under investigation, 25 new admittances, 43 discharges, and the rate of transmission continues to be about where it's been today. It's 1.07%. On unemployment insurance, last week, 19,636 New Jerseyans filed initial claims. This is no solace to any of them, but that's the first time that we've been under 20,000 in 5 weeks. But it's now 1.6 million New Jerseyans who have filed. We have put out on the street $15.4 billion to folks who have been monetarily eligible. That's a combination of state money and federal money, and 96% of those who are deemed to be monetarily eligible have received at least one payment. The average benefit, by the way, per claimant is just over $11,300. So forgive me for going through that, but I wanted to make sure that we address that. Back to the topic at hand. Over the past months, the group up here and our team have kept open our lines of communication as we have worked together in partnership toward the new state budget that will need to be in place by October 1st. Yes, we are still having discussions over specific line items and numbers, although I think I can speak on behalf of all of us, we're very close. But when it comes to one of the core values that will underpin the budget, we are in alignment, which is why we're here this morning. We know that over the course of this pandemic, and frankly before it began, that our middle class needed help, and that countless families working hard to achieve their middle class dreams needed an extra push. And while we continue to work together on the final pieces of what the next state budget will ultimately look like, today we are proud to stand together to announce that our promise to help the middle class and those striving to join it is a promise that will be kept. First and foremost, I'm proud to announce that we are in agreement that the new budget will include the restoration of the Millionaires tax. As I noted in my budget address just 3 weeks ago, we do not hold any grudge at all against those who have been successful in life. But in this unprecedented time when so many middle-class families and others have sacrificed so much, now is the time to ensure that the wealthiest among us are also called to sacrifice. And literally, by the way, pennies on their top dollars earned is a modest ask. But the impact is anything but modest, and that's the good news. The revenues generated through the Millionaires tax will allow us to do more for our schools, our communities, and our property taxpayers. It will allow us to undo years of tax inequities that have led to the point where many middle class and lower income families actually pay a larger percentage of their incomes in taxes than millionaires do. Now, we can begin to correct this. And again, I thank the Senate President, the Speaker, and I know I speak on behalf of Sheila for their partnership. However, I'm equally proud to announce that we have also reached agreement on a tax cut for New Jersey's middle-class families. We will provide a maximum $500 tax rebate for middle-class and low-income working families with at least one dependent child, with income limits either $75,000 for a single-parent household or $150,000 for a married couple. What's important here is that this is a tax rebate, not a tax deduction. In other words, this isn't something that gets whittled away by everything else on your tax filing and becomes worth less than its face value. This is up to $500 that an estimated 800,000 New Jersey families can put directly in their pockets. Additionally, we will also change the definition of dependent in the state tax code to match that of the federal tax code so that there can be no more confusion and no more difference as to what that word means. We will level this playing field for our families. The principle that we coalesced around was simple. As we look to the other side of this pandemic, we will need to fuel an economic recovery. Many of our middle class and working families were laid low when the steps we have had to take, painful steps I might add, to protect families and save lives from the pandemic meant that they couldn't go to work. Now we're going to help by giving them back some of what they lost. This is money our families need and money that will help spur our recovery and our future resiliency. And when paired with the Millionaires tax, it means that the promise that we have made to build a stronger and fairer New Jersey is a promise that is much closer to our grasp. We can only be stronger and more resilient when we have the resources to invest in our future. And we can only be fairer when the tax code works for everyone. And again, I know I speak on behalf of Sheila and myself. She's up to bat next, and she will, I'm sure, add to this. I want to thank Senate President Sweeney, Speaker Coughlin, the budget chairs for their partnership. I'm proud that we're able to arrive at this point together to move our state forward together. With that, please help me welcome my partner in government, the rock and the singular, the one and only Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I first would like to congratulate Governor Murphy and Senate President Sweeney and Speaker Coughlin for coming together during a very difficult economic time in New Jersey and reaching consensus on a budget that will work for the operations of government, but more importantly, for the people in the state of New Jersey. You know, when Governor Murphy and I ran, you know that we ran on a platform of creating a stronger and fairer economy that works for all families. This budget is a down payment on that platform. $500 may be insignificant to some, but for those 800,000 families that will receive a $500 rebate, it goes a long way, particularly during a period of time when people aren't working or working reduced hours, or those who have even lost their jobs totally. As children get back into school mode, be it remotely, virtually, or hybrid, this is $500 in the pockets of a family that can be used to further support their children. So I'm just so pleased that our leadership in New Jersey came to the table and did the right thing. I only lament, Senate President, that you and I weren't able to do things like this when we had a former governor, because we would still be in the 11th hour or a government shutdown. But we are not. I think that we have shared values. The Senate President, the Speaker, Governor Murphy, shared values, and this is a budget that represents having to be frugal based on the revenue deficits we are challenged with, but at the same time, prioritizing what's important. And it's always said that your budget is a reflection of your priorities, and in this budget, our priority is middle class and working class families. Thank you, Governor.
There's only about 3 of us who can clap here, but let the record show we clapped. Thank you, Sheila, and thank you for everything you do day in and day out for our government. I've said this many times over the past several weeks. The spirit in and around this budget and around so much else that we're having to deal with as a state right now could not be better. None of us up here can do what we need to do alone, and that certainly includes especially a budget. And I can't thank our colleagues enough who lead the legislative chambers for their spirit, their can-do attitude, their willingness to find common ground. And that goes especially for the next guy. Please help me welcome the Senate President, Steve Sweeney. Nice mask.
Well, I bet a lot of you didn't expect to find me here today. And you know, I'm surprised I am. but I'm going to start off by thanking the governor for being open to an idea the speaker came up with, which is to help the middle class. I think that's one of the things we can't lose at this point. We resisted, and I've vocally resisted, millionaires tax for years. And it wasn't a political thing about governor or me. It was, I had a problem with it at the timing. But a pandemic hit, and things have changed. And we have to face the reality that a lot of families are hurting here. And when Speaker Coughlin came to me with this idea, and it was his idea, until he came to me, I wasn't really there. But helping middle-class families, to me, makes all the sense in the world at this time. So I want to thank the governor and LG for their openness and willingness to do it a little bit different than we thought we were going to do. A little bit different. But what we're doing is some good things for the middle class in this state. 800,000 families are going to benefit. I'm glad to be standing here with my colleagues. I agree with the governor. The level of cooperation has been very good. I expect we will have a budget done before the deadline. I would be very surprised if we didn't at this point. We're close, just cleaning up, dotting I's and crossing T's. And again, to the speaker, I want to congratulate you. You came up with a great idea. And helping 800,000 families right now in this pandemic, you know, someone says, well, it's only 500. It's 500 more than they have. So again, thank you all.
Thanks, Steve. Again, I'm clapping. Steve, you mentioned this morning a new day is dawned. You and I were being criticized on a radio, you said, for getting along with each other, so God forbid. Thank you for the words. Thanks for the leadership, and it means more than you know. You've already said it. Craig Coughlin deserves an enormous amount of credit on getting us to the moment we're at today. This notion of asking those who can afford it the most to help us in our hour of need, drive money directly into the middle class, into working families, is a brilliant reality, and that's why we're here this morning. Please help me welcome another great leader, the Speaker of the General Assembly, Craig Coughlin.
Good morning, everybody, and thanks for coming. It's great to be here with the governor and Senate President, Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver, of course, my dear friend and budget chair, Assemblywoman Eliana Pinto-Marin, and in absentia, I guess, Senate Budget Chair Paul Sarlo, to announce what is really a historic win for the middle class and for families in New Jersey. And let me say thank you, Senate President, for those kind words, and Governor for giving me credit that I don't deserve, because we did it together. And so let me thank you and commend you for your commitment and leadership on behalf of the middle class and middle class families in New Jersey. The agreement that we reached will provide much needed tax relief for so many who can truly use a break. It'll make a tangible difference. The agreement will, in fact, provide nearly 700,000 middle-class families with dependent children a $500 rebate. And it's critically important that we stand up for those families. It has always been a priority of all of us here to help the middle class as we can. Now, many of those families are struggling right now to make ends meet, to afford the everyday necessities that have become more challenging as a result of the coronavirus. And helping the middle-class families, for all of us, is a priority. It's something that we must continue to do, especially as we deal with the economic crisis that the pandemic has caused. I'm also pleased to join today with the Governor and Senate President in support of increasing the tax rate on those earning more than $1 million. The small increase has long been part of Governor Murphy's plan of tax fairness, and it will generate, as he pointed out, much-needed revenue that will allow assistance to those desperately in need and who will use the money incredibly wisely. So congratulations, Governor. I know this is an important day for you. I'd also like to highlight the incredible work that Assemblywoman Pinto Marin and the members of the Senate Budget, the members of the Assembly Budget Committee and Senate Budget Committee are doing, and my leadership team for supporting me and making this possible. Now, we still have work to do, as everybody pointed out, and I look forward to continuing the progress that we've made, working collaboratively with the Governor and Senate President and our respective teams to finalize a budget, which I suspect we will do in relatively short order. So thank you all for coming out on what I think is a historic day for middle-class families, and proud to be a part of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Speaker, and thank you for your leadership on so many things, including this. They flipped the coin. We do, as promised, we have Senate Budget Chair Paul Sarlo and Mayor Paul Sarlo here. He and Ileana Pinto Marin flipped the coin, and Ileana is going to speak on your respective behalf. So please help me welcome another terrific leader, the chair of the Assembly Budget Committee, Ileana Pinto Marin.
So when you moved the date to October 1st, I didn't know what to expect or what to think or how we were going to be able to get a budget done. But I'm really proud of all of us here today, from Governor to yourself to the incredible Sheila Oliver, Senate President, the immense respect that I have for you and Paul as my colleague. But I'm truly honored more and more to be a part of Speaker Coughlin's team, because he is a leader and he allows his leadership team to have input and have real say in what the agenda looks like. As we've all been talking about, helping middle-class families, and I think that all of us are trying to deal with this pandemic in one way or the other, right? As a mom of two young girls, that I like to remind everyone, because I think it helps remind us of the situation, who's dealing with, virtual learning, and who's in school and working, and who's picking up, and who can do virtual learning with the 4-year-old has been really incredible. But in the midst of how frustrating and how tired and how immensely confusing this is for our kids and for our families, I take a step back every day, and I'm so thankful that I'm in the position that I am, because I have a roof over my head, I have food in the refrigerator, and I have 2 healthy young girls. And I think that many families, middle-class families, are really struggling because of what the pandemic has done for them. So I applaud the Speaker for your leadership in this, Governor and Senate President for really being at the forefront and giving families some of the relief that I think that they've been looking for. $500, as some people stated, is not that much money. But there are quite a few families, especially for a single mom, who's making $75,000, paying rent, and is barely making ends meet. That's a serious amount of money for that mother. So we're not done yet. We're almost there through the finish line. We still have a few more things to finish up and to tighten up in the budget, but I have to say that I am very proud today. Thank you, Speaker Coughlin, Governor, Lieutenant Governor, and Senate President. Paul?
Thank you so much, Madam Chairwoman. Great leadership on this and on so much else. On second thought, I would love to welcome up the chair of the Senate Budget Committee. Again, not only a senator, but a mayor, a businessman. Please help me welcome another terrific leader, Paul Sarlo. And a coach.
Thank you, Governor. I apologize for being late. To the Governor, to our Lieutenant Governor, to my good friend and colleague, Senate President Steve Sweeney, to our great Speaker in the Assembly, Craig Coughlin, and to my Budget, I was going to say co-chair, but we are like co-chairs because we talk often and we try to coordinate as much as we can between the 2 houses. I'm not here to talk about the arrangement that has been put together by our 3 leaders, but I just want to say this. I think this is important. I've been the chair now of the Senate Budget and Appropriations Committee for finishing this will be almost 12 years at the end of this term as chairman of the Senate Budget and Appropriations Committee. And I think what's important for all of us to recognize as we sit here today during one of the most difficult times in our state and our country's history is that the leaders have come together and have put together a budget process and put the biggest piece of it together, the revenue piece, in a time frame that allows it to be done in a transparent manner. I've been part of budget processes where it was done at the last minute during the dark of the night, and it feels good for me to be here as a budget chairman after 12 years that the three leaders were able to get together in a room. Both our Senate President now and our Speaker have the ability to go back and work with our colleagues, and we have a chance to go back and work with our colleagues to finalize the details of the budget, but to get the revenue piece taken care of and taken care of up front, and to make sure it's fair for everyone, I think is the most important thing that I take away from this. Whether you agree or disagree with what the rate should be or shouldn't be, the most important thing, we're doing in a very open and a very transparent manner, and we're not doing this on September 30th in the dark of the night. So thank you, Governor. Thank you, Speaker Coughlin and Senate President Sweeney, for taking the leadership on that. Steve and I have our work to do, just like Craig and Eliana have their work to do, go back and brief our respective caucuses now on some of the finer details of the budget, and we look forward to seeing you all in the coming days as we go through the budget process. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you, Paul. I would echo that point you made about process, and I mentioned this, the spirit of goodwill with Steve and Craig in particular. I know I speak on behalf of Sheila, but Paul, you and Eliana as well. These are crazy, unusual times, and we need to have as much cohesion and teamwork as possible, and I can't say enough good things about that. So thank you, and thanks for saying that. Thanks for each one of you. I know we've jammed this into a very tight window, so on behalf of my fellow colleagues here, we don't have a whole lot of time, but we'll take a couple of quick questions before we break. Dustin, hold on one sec. We'll get the mics here.
Thanks. If I'm doing some quick back of the envelope math here, so it looks like the revenue that was projected for the Millionaires tax is being washed out because it's going to pay for the rebates. Is that accurate? That essentially the Millionaires tax is going to pay for these rebates? And if you're looking at other sustained revenues, if the Senate President or Speaker could answer, is the sales tax on the table? That's something that seems to be an easy lift, given it's a fraction of a penny.
Yeah, so I would, and I'm not quibbling with the way you said it because your question's a fair one, but washed out, I wouldn't say washed out because we're investing in the middle class. So the use of proceeds here is enormously important. There is going to be some amount left over, and we're still working through the details, but that amount will be put into exactly what folks would want. That'll be put into school funding, health care, housing, basic stuff, the extent to which we have anything beyond the checks that we will all be sending to middle class families. I think we've all agreed we're not going to talk about the rest of the budget because we're still crossing T's and dotting I's, but will you all forgive me to say this, the sales tax is not going to be a part of that to any sense of any of us have right now. Thank you. Please. Hold on one sec.
So where are things with the CBT surcharge extension, the $4 billion in bonding, the $1.3 billion revenue difference in OLS and Treasury? I know there's a report out that the CBT surcharge will be extended, like you had proposed.
So again, forgive me, Daniel, we're not going to get into other pieces of the budget, but we're close. We're very close. And I think I can speak on behalf of all of us. We will all be collectively shocked if we don't have an agreement well in advance of the September 30th deadline. And those are among other items that we're machining as we speak, but we're very close. Brent, sorry, I apologize. We're just going to get a microphone to you.
Oh, yeah. Is this an annual rebate, or is this just for next year? And what's the structure of the rebate? You said it's up to $500. What does that mean? Does that mean some people could get $200, or? Yeah,
it depends on your. It's means tested. It depends on dependence, but it's up to $500. And I think we all would want to see this as an annual event. We have to revisit this every year, but this is right, folks. This is something that we feel passionate about. Putting money directly into the middle class is at the top of our respective and collective agendas. Please.
Even though it's not in the budget or technically part of the budget, are you guys still pursuing the financial transaction microtax?
Yeah, this is something, again, I'm not going to get into any of the details on the budget, but we all think that's a good idea. And that is something that we continue to machine, but I won't make any more news beyond that. Please. Hey, Mike.
Hi, Governor. Thanks. Could you just clarify the percent changes on the income tax? Is it going from 8.9 on the top margin to 10.75 like you proposed
Yeah, it's going
before,
to the rate that is right now applied to someone who's making $5 million or more. So it'll be from your, but it won't be on dollar one. It'll be from the $1 million up of your income. Elise, please, and then Alex.
With which tax year will the Millionaires tax start?
It'll start this year, but the rebate checks will be based on your filing that you make, I guess, next April 15. So the checks will come back in sometime in summer of 2021.
For the Millionaires tax?
No, the rebate.
Right.
Millionaires will go into effect with this budget. Alex.
For the governor and the Senate president, if I may, you guys have battled over this idea for a long time. Senate President, it appears from what we're seeing today that you're allowing this or going along with this without any commitment on path to progress. Governor, I know that you had ideas and your administration and your allies had ideas of many millions of dollars for public schools. In a sense, this is going back into the pockets of the people. Did you both cave for not enough from the other side?
Well, I wouldn't say it that way. Steve, come on down. Putting money in the hands of, into the pockets of the middle class is what we're all about collectively. How we do it, obviously, was subject to discussion.
And the governor and I and the speaker had that conversation. We have to talk about the other side of the envelope. And we are going to focus on making changes to make New Jersey more affordable. So no, we didn't walk away from anything. We collectively worked out a deal on the teachers' health care that saved a whole lot of money. And there's a whole bunch of other ideas out there that yesterday when we spoke yesterday, the speaker and the governor, we all committed to working together to find more reforms to make things better. So we didn't walk away. There's two sides of the envelope, and we're going to work on both.
Yeah, I would echo that. We had a specific discussion yesterday about everything from asset sales to whatever else we could do to make government run more efficiently and effectively. Anybody else? Real quick, sir. Yeah.
Governor, would you clarify what the rate is for those who are making $1 million to $5 million and those above?
Well, it's going to be 10.875 for $1 million and up, unless I'm corrected. 10.75, pardon me. Again, beginning on the millionth dollar of income, not on dollar one. Brent.
I'm sorry. The checks, the rebate checks would go out next summer, is what you said? 2021?
Yes.
Just wanted to make sure I heard that. Okay.
You good with that, everybody? So on behalf of the Lieutenant Governor, the Senate President, the Speaker, and both budget chairs, again, this is a big day for the middle class in this state. And I can say collectively, with unanimity, we are all extremely gratified we could get to this day. And we'll be coming back to you sometime in the next 13 days or so in terms of the final pieces of the budget. Again, I think I could speak on behalf of all of us. We're quite close, and we'll be coming at you with the final details. Thank you all.